wow, what a trip, right?
Oh, wow. The experience of a lifetime.
Oh, this has been something else. So we came to India with 3 main projects. So the first project we haven't done, we've never done an evangelism series in India.
Right.
And so we came here to do an evangelism series. The other thing we hadn't ever done was we did a supervisor training. So we've got 12 mid-level supervisors, and we brought them in and trained those 12 so they could go out and train the 200 that they oversee.
Yeah.
So with those 2 projects, wow.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget the health camp.
Yes, and the health camp was crazy.
That was a health camp like no other.
Yes. Well, we didn't, in most health camps we have a way to contain the crowd, but what we had is a lot of school kids. And they were wonderful and they were great, but they were unruly, and they just made our life a lot of fun. But we were able to save some lives in that health camp. We were able to do some really good things. And so, and then a lot of the people from the health camp ended up coming to the evangelism series. And the evangelism series was such a huge blessing. We were right next to a Hindu temple. Every night it would just blare its music so incredibly loud, and it was so hard to preach over and do the children's story and everything else.
And we had the one day, I mean, M80s are going off in firecrackers, and
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Explosions. The pastor from here and I don't know if I should tell you guys this, but we walked into a Hindu temple and we sat in the temple while they were worshiping just to try to have a word with them. And they did turn the sound down for a little bit, but they turned it back up. And so,
We'll take what we can get.
But it was a great time. We had a lot of people come forward Friday night when we made a call. Matter of fact, everybody in the audience besides 4 people came forward when we made the call. We've got Bible studies started 2 different Bible studies started in that Hindu village.
Have you heard how many people are coming to those Bible studies?
I don't know exactly how many people are coming. They've talked about a few here and a few there, and then thinking that more families are going to come. But we had, like I said, we had 150 people that night, and a bunch of people came forward. We will just have to see what happens. It is rough in these deeply Hindu communities to try to bring souls to Christ. They're so ingrained in their cultures and in their traditions that it's hard work. But here's the thing, we're willing to do that hard work. That's why we're here. Now we're here in Varanasi.
Yes. And it's, wow, the Ganges. We got to go on the Ganges
Yes,
River our
it's
first
Ganges
night.
or Ganges. I'm not sure which one it is. I think potato,
I think
I'm not
so.
sure. But so what'd you think of the Ganges?
Wow. I mean, talk about, wow. I mean.
Well, the fires and the bodies burning in the fires.
Yeah.
And that was pretty incredible.
And we went down at the quiet time because it was nighttime. So not everybody is coming down to the river to bathe. Like usually it's crowded. But to have that quiet float down the river and then to see the bonfires on the side and to think about what that means for these people and what they must be feeling and what they're trying to reach. It was very, wow, I can't even explain like the feelings inside as we floated down.
It was very surreal. I thought about the time when my father died and we had him cremated, and then we buried the urn at the gravesite where my grandmother was. And I will never forget when I put that urn down in the ground, that's when it hit me. That's when I was like, okay, Father's gone. My dad's gone. And I watched these people standing there watching their loved ones being burned. They were dead, right? But they burned the bodies. And that same thought came to me. This is their moment. This is when, they're gone. Yeah. And that's amazing. The dedication and the commitment and just, I mean, these people really truly believe, and they're looking for something to believe in.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're here, because they're believing in things that aren't there. They're worshiping idols that are wooden and stone and gold, and they're
made
just
by human hands.
Made by human hands, and we worship a God that's alive, and so we want to introduce them to this God that's alive and take this devout faith that they have and turn it in a direction that's real.
Yes.
That's gonna help them.
Yes.
And that's what we're here doing. So speaking of that, so now we're in Varanasi, and we are doing a training for around 40 of our workers here in Varanasi.
Yes, and some of these are brand new ladies. They just started working with us earlier this last year from Lucknow, and it's a real treat to be able to get to see new or old faces, and then get to meet the new faces and welcome them into the Ultimate Mission family.
Yeah. And it's such a learning experience. I don't really know how to explain it, but when you go into and you're teaching somebody in a different culture, in a different language, in a different part of the world, there's just a different way that you have to think. Some of these ladies, I mean, they catch it like that,
Yes,
right? They're
yes.
getting it like that. Some of them, I mean, I'm asking very simple questions and they're having a hard time wrapping their minds around the question, whether
Yeah.
it's the language, whether it's the culture,
Yeah.
whether it's the context that I'm giving it to them in. I mean, we have docs and nurses and I mean, some really smart people that do this training with us. And all of us have a difficult time
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to communicate in such a way where people that live in a village they may not have traveled out of ever in their life, for the first time they're in a city, and all of a sudden now we've got to try to explain some of these concepts to them. And it by the grace of God this stuff happens, and by the grace of God they're able to reach and save souls for the kingdom. But I will tell you, this is a challenge like I've never experienced in my life.
Well, and each training we've done, and Southern India was different than Northern India. Our supervisors are better educated. They've been in the program longer. But there's still, every lesson, I get a nugget of, oh, we need to change things and try things differently. To continue to make this program much more impactful and powerful, and that can spread to anybody.
Yeah, this Ultimate Mission, for those of you that support this, and many of you do that are watching this, Ultimate Mission is a program of continuous improvement. We're always trying to make improvement every single year because there's an infinite amount of things to learn and try and do in order to make this an effective program. And that's where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort that go into this, and we're not doing it to feel good about ourselves.
Right.
We're doing it because this needs to work.
Yeah.
And so that's Rochelle and I are really dedicated to making this work.
Yeah.
And
it does take a lot of money, and we don't want to just spend that money and feel like we're doing something.
Right.
We want to know that the money that we receive is going to be very impactful and to be spent the best way possible.
yeah, and make a difference. I mean, change lives. That's what we're here to do. So with your help, our next trip is just Nepal.
Yes.
So we'll give you another update after Nepal. But with your help, we are able to be here and to do what we're doing and to save souls for the kingdom and to save lives physically, spiritually, and mentally. So thank you very, very much. God bless, and we will talk to you again soon.
Yes, and Dhanyavad.
Bye-bye.